Hi, I'm Aditi. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm walking you through how I actually set up the foundation of a React Native app. Before I write any features or UI, I like to start with a clean, intentional structure, creating the project, removing all the default boilerplate, and organizing everything using atomic design principles. That's exactly what we're going to do in this video. Now, this video is a part of my app building series, and I'll link the playlist down below, but you can definitely watch this on its own if you just want a solid, modern way to structure your next Expo project. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's run npx create-expo-app. This is going to initialize our project. I'm going to give the same name of the app that I'm building in my series, but of course you can call it whatever. All right, so while it's downloading, we can take a look at the existing structure. So by default, Expo creates an app that has, oops, what happened to my iOS simulator? Let's open that back up. Okay, so while that's booting up, anyways. So the default tabs layout actually creates tabs. Let's cd into this directory, and then we can take a look at what it looks like before we start removing what we don't want. So again, in the app that I'm building, the navigation that we'll be using is drawer navigation. I'm not going to set that up in this video, but we won't really need tabs. So yeah, if you take a look at it now, it's like, okay, this is our tabs layout. I'm just going to pull the index page out of here just so that we can have something to take a look at, but we genuinely don't need. Whoa, why is it everything's red? Let's take a look. I think this is just throwing an error for no reason. Let me reload the app really quickly. Yeah, we should be good. What does this mean? Let's actually just restart the TypeScript server. So, sorry. Yeah, let's see. Okay, it looks good now. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so what we actually want to do now is, yeah, let's go through this. So in this app directory, these are the screens, right? So there's like the modal screen, which again, we don't really need right now. So we'll just get rid of it. We'll keep the index, but I want to go through what's in our components folder as well. So as you can see, they have a lot of different things that we're actually not going to use. So the best thing to do is just delete these right off the bat, because later on, like, everything just gets a little bit too complicated as we build our own components. So I'm just gonna get rid of that whole folder, and in here we can actually get rid of a lot of stuff in here as well. Keep that, and then in here we'll just make it a simple view, and then just have a text component that says welcome to the app. All right, React Native reanimated, that's not it. Whoops. All right, let's make sure that we're importing it from there, and the same thing for this one. There we go. Perfect. That's what it's gonna look like for now. Same thing here. We don't need these styles. Whoops. And in the layout file as well, I think we can, all right, we'll get rid of this. This will start completely fresh. How about that? And then we can clean up all these imports that we also don't need. I don't even think we need. Yeah, we definitely don't. All right, so this is our most basic app. It's up there, the welcome to the app. But that's pretty much what we need to look at right now. And then in terms of assets, again, there's a lot going on here. I would just delete this as well. Okay, so now that we don't have anything, let's talk about how we're gonna structure it for our app. So I'm gonna open up the Figma file just to show you guys an idea of what the app will look like when it's complete. But again, like, this is part of my series, so I'm using it as an example, but I feel like this could apply to anything really here. All right, so in our app, we're gonna have this onboarding. We're gonna have like auth screens, so that's another set, right? For right now, I've kept onboarding in the design file very simple. it's just one page. This could actually be our splash screen as well. But obviously we need like a sign up and a login. So those are 2 pages that will stay in the auth flow. And then these are our main screens. So this app is structured around, like I said before, a drawer navigation, but the chat screen is the main screen. And so this means that this is going to be maybe our index. And then within the drawer navigation, which would look like this, we have our other main screens, right? So the view memories opens up this either list view or graph view. And then of course we have this modal that opens up when you click on this voice transcription button. So that's going to look something like this. And then this is like, okay, as you're chatting, what does it look like? So to create all of this, we need to set up the folder structure in a way that makes like both intuitive sense and also something that helps us code more efficiently. Now, one principle that I sort of mentioned at the beginning of the video is called atomic design. And essentially how it works is you break up the components of your whether it be like a React project, any type of website, whatever, into different smaller parts. So the smallest part would be like an atom, and that's something you can't go smaller than. So you can't break up an atom, right? So that's what you would refer to something as this text element, right? Like for example, like you want to keep text very consistent throughout your app. So maybe like I have paragraph text and I create a component called typography, and I can pass different values to it, things like the font, the size, the color, right? But really keeping that consistent. Like maybe I have one for paragraph font, for body text, and one for headings. So having a consistent like component that you use every time you mention body text really helps, because then if you decide you want to change the font, you don't have to go through and individually change the font every single place. You just change it in that one component, right? So that's one example of having like a typography component. So that's your atom. The next thing that comes up is actually the molecules. So that would be like if you had, for example, this input box right here, right? So we can tell that for this input box, we have our label, right? So that would be like an atom. You can't bring that up any further. And then you would have the actual background of this input box. So that's like another component, and those two together would create the input, which is a molecule, right? So you have like, okay, the base background, and then you have the text. So then those two together create a molecule. An organism would be something like incorporating this voice transcription box right here as well. So this is a button that opens up a modal, right? So again, you could break that up into molecules. So you have the icon, and then you have the actual button itself, right? So together, this voice transcription button and this input label box come together to create your actual full input. So that becomes an organism because it contains multiple molecules. So this is how we're going to break up the structure in our app. So let me just open that up, and then we can actually begin by creating this folder structure. So in our app folder, we want to have 2 main folders. We want to have the screens. So those are your pages, right? So those would be like, the home screen, the chat screen, the view memory screen, etc., etc. And then you also want to have your file for your components. All right, so in these screens, we want to break it down even further. So like I was mentioning, we want to have something for auth, and then we want to have something for maybe onboarding, which we can expand upon later, and then something that's like our main file, right? So I'm going to call that main for now. And then in components, we want to break it down like by atoms, molecules, and organisms. If we were to create, for example, let me take a look right here at this component right here again. All right, so one atom that we can create is definitely the body text. So that would be one. Again, we'll fill in the code in the next video. And then a molecule that we can create would be a button. And then we could have an input box as our big organism. So all of these would come together to form a screen. So again, on this index screen, for example, we have just the text here, right? we would use body if we wanted to be body text. For it to look something like this, we would have lots and lots of different atoms and molecules and components throughout this. Now that we have the general idea of how atomic design would be applied to a React Native app, I think we can go ahead and take a look at the theme. Now, how we apply the theme is going to be a little bit different than this boilerplate code. So they have right here the default fonts that they would select. I'm going to get rid of that because that's not how we're going to define ours, actually. And in our theme file, we're not going to have just colors. I think maintaining consistent border radius, maintaining consistent margin and spacing is also very important. So that's where all of these different things will live in our theme file, right? So that's why I'm actually just going to get rid of this. And next time we can go ahead. I'll leave the file though. For our hooks, we're going to use something different. We're going to use different hooks to like fetch different things, the auth, write to the memory, things like that. I'm gonna delete what's in here at the moment though. Another folder that we want to have is one for lib, and that's going to cover things like our configuration for Supabase, as well as for Gemini when we end up using it for the chat functionality, and Vercel when we want to set up what's behind the Gemini. So this is our general folder structure. I think that's pretty much it. The fonts that we're going to use would live in assets if they're local to a machine, but I'm going to be using a font from Google Fonts, so we can just go ahead and import that differently. Same thing as well, we can leave this script in here, I guess, if we want to reset the project, but it's not really necessary. And that's pretty much it for this video. Here's the full foundation. I know this was a short one, but I think it's really important to define how you're going to structure out the rest of your app right at the beginning, so that you're not left with, okay, like one file that has like 1,000 lines of code just because you didn't split everything up. So yeah, here's a clean expo project. We've gotten rid of all the boilerplate and a folder structure that's actually designed to scale. So from here, everything becomes easier. Things like adding features, building components, and keeping the code base organized. So in the next video, we're going to start connecting the structure that we built up today to real functionality by implementing our auth screens. So if you want to follow that full build, make sure to check out the playlist link below. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.